Yes, it is finally true. The Black Ace Hockey Podcast is back in action. I'm your co-host, Blaine Adams. I'm right here as always with your co-host, Nick Jenkins. What's going on, man?
The fact that we're back means hockey is right around the corner, my friend. Unfortunately, that also means that the weather's taken a turn for the worse.
Yeah.
I like fall weather. I'm here for it. It's still nice enough to get a couple more rounds in with the boys this year. But yeah, hockey is around the corner, man. How was your summer?
Summer's good. I think the last time we stopped talking was back in April, and I did the marathon, or half marathon. Didn't do the full marathon because only psychopaths do those. And yeah, summer's been good. Just basically chillaxing. Didn't do too many hard things. I went to a hockey camp. What was that in July? I think that was. But after that, just kind of hanging out till the hockey season starts. Of course, like yourself. I think wedding season in the summer took over my life. Just from bachelor parties to weddings to just absolutely debauchery everywhere you see. Yeah, I mean, it's a good time for the boys, though. I feel like the boys are ramping back up, would you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's prime time season now. Yeah, summer's been a little bit crazy, and now wedding season is definitely winding down for me as well. We've got the gauntlet right now. We've got a couple more here, and then after that it's going to be the good old Halloween party for the boys, and
Yep.
then we're going to jump right into hockey season. High school hockey's back in action. We had our first game last night. So the high school teams have started again. It's sort of like that. You flip the calendar to October and hockey's a full go everywhere.
It's
So
insane. Like I feel like I have to block days off because of so much of how much hockey they want me to ref, and that's just
yeah,
because like there's so many games. Like I think
hmm
last weekend there was like three tournaments in Pittsburgh, and when you think about tournaments, like everybody thinks about, oh, that's only like 3 4 games because that's all I'm playing. But think about that. Every person in a city has 3 4 games. That's like 400 games that need covered, and that's 800 referees. Think about that. Like, there's not that many people in Pittsburgh that ref. I mean, I think there might be like 1,000, but like to get them all doing that in one weekend is pretty insane. So I am so happy I'm not a scheduler. That would be an absolute nightmare. But we're getting through, man. It's sunny right now. I don't think I've turned on my AC in about a week, 7 days. Just
beautiful.
just a fan in the window, just cooking the air from the outside. Get rid of all the smell from the boy in here.
It's
Circulate that shit.
really this is the best time of year to save energy because you're right. You just pop that window open and everything cools down, and pull a blanket over and you're good to go.
It's like 1 month, and then it's just instantly cold forever. But
Here comes the snow.
yeah, I know. But let's just jump right into some of the hockey news that happened over the summer. I feel like this season we're going to do things a little differently than last season. I know last season we tried to cover a lot within the hour. So we're bringing a new structure to this season. It's gonna be more of like a couple topics, 5 6 7 topics, whatever we pick, and then towards the end of the show, if you don't hear your favorite topic, I'm sure we're gonna have it in the speed rundown. Or is basically think of like your around the horn. Think of like those two guys that have like the little side panel on ESPN with all those topics they cover in like a 30 seconds. We might yell at each other for more than 30 seconds, but that's the style that we're gonna try.
Yep.
So bear with us as we kick things off here. I think the biggest news we have to start with is this college hockey situation, Jenks. And the much anticipated, is Gavin McKenna going to stay in the CHL, or is he going to come to the United States and play for the Nittany Lions, is over, and that news has come out.
That's it, man. It's as a Penn State fan myself, um, obviously I'm excited about it. You always like hear those rumors and building up to it. You're like, this isn't actually going to happen, right? There's no way this is actually going to happen.
Right.
And Gavin McKenna being probably the biggest prospect since Bedard at this point. The This really changes the dynamic, I think, to say for him to make that jump from junior hockey into college is not really, we haven't really seen a prospect at this level, I don't think, since like the Eichel back in 2015 with McDavid. I mean, when he
Was
went to,
Keller after Eichel?
I would still, I think yes, but I would still
Keller
say
wasn't
Eichel
that
was
big.
bigger than
Yeah.
Keller.
Okay.
Yeah. Because back then it was like, okay, McDavid is obviously the number one, but Eichel, if McDavid wasn't in this draft, Eichel would have been the number one.
Right.
Um,
I mean, even people were
so
talking about that when McDavid broke his hand. You know what I mean? So like,
yes, yeah, there was definitely a consideration there. Obviously it played out the way it did, and they made the right
yeah.
pick. Edmonton made the right pick there.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I really exciting for Penn State. Obviously, I think this is also really exciting. It represents a shift for college hockey where these prospects want to go and play against older and bigger guys and take development to the next level. Um, but man, I wonder how this is going to continue to shape college. I think this is good. It's all positive for college hockey, but you could probably argue that it's going to hurt junior hockey a little bit. What are your thoughts around all of this?
Yeah, I mean, Penn State is clearly number one this year, right? Going into the season, they have to be ranked either one or two, post like Minnesota, maybe. But I think what Penn State did was nobody wanted to do right off the rip. I know Michigan has a little bit, but they're more Michigan's more like lineage people. They love getting brothers of 95 NHL people and the ex NHL people to get on the staff. Like they're all about that. Where Penn State's like, yeah, we're just gonna go shopping and we're gonna get every top draft pick in the last that's gonna be incoming into the NHL and the post NHL draft. So what they got that Michael Misa guy. I think their whole freshman class is Canadian, but one person.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and they got I know they Aiden Fink is returning. Like all these
Yeah.
people, you thought Penn State was nasty last year. I mean, what are we gonna see? And I would say it's a make or break year for Gavin McKenna. Like I think the consensus that we all know is the CHL is kind of on like the more
Yeah.
skill leagues in the world, whereas the NCAA, you have heavy hitters. You got 25, 26, 27 year olds post their USHL NA career that come in here. They're not going to make the NHL. They know that, so they just want to absolutely murder people, respectively,
Yeah.
and what is it, metaphorically. But I just think what was that? Shut up, Siri. I don't care about
You,
you.
you got your phone's
Yeah, what
chiming in
the
there.
hell? I don't care about you. Yeah, I think it's a little dangerous in a sense where we've seen ECHL players. The team is like, hey, you didn't really do well this year. Why don't you go back to college after playing professional ECHL? They're going like that one. I think it was an ex Penguin. Is going back to Arizona State, and he's playing D1. Like after making $1 million, a quarter of $1 million, whatever it is. I just think the hockey realm of this NIL is going to get the NIL to make moves. I think the college system, it's so set in stone because like there's just so much money involved. But the hockey, there's really not that much money involved in it. Gavin McKenna's only making 700 grand. Freaking the quarterback of Texas is making 6 million. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see how this evolves. Maybe you can only transfer one time, Like that's it. You're only allowed one transfer in 4 years. Maybe that's how they limit the turnover. Like Gavin McKenna could go to Michigan next year. Gavin McKenna could go to Western Michigan. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
you never know. We'll
I mean,
see.
I think somebody on like Gavin McKenna's level is a one and done. Like
You think?
he's gonna be in college
Okay.
this year, and then he's gonna be pro next year. So I think that he's probably a special case, but there's definitely some of these guys who, maybe they're a fourth, fifth round pick in the NHL, and they're going to say, no, you're going back. And if they started let's just start with, if they started in Penn State and next year Michigan's like, hey, I don't know what they're paying you, but we'll give you, $500,000 to come play for us.
Right.
And they jump ship, it's going to be a really interesting dynamic.
Right.
I don't know all the details. I know there's some cap to how much NIL you can spend for an entire team. They don't have an unlimited budget just based on who their alumni are that are donating.
Right.
So you couldn't bring McKenna to Michigan next year and pay him $17 million. So I don't know what all the rules are to that, but yeah, you could see this be evolve like college football and be like, I'm going to go to Michigan next year and then Penn State, and then, oh, I get a third year, I'm going to go to Michigan State. It'd be really weird.
But I'm interested to see in maybe here's a question for you. If
Mm-hmm.
Gavin McKenna goes to Penn State, and
Mm-hmm.
literally the week after Penn State gets like 19 other top tier players,
Mm-hmm.
like at what point do you say, hey, I will literally take zero money just to play with Gavin McKenna or on this team because I know they're going to be nasty. So are we in the realm of super teams in college hockey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what you're going to end up seeing. I just wonder if I'm starting to believe that this is going to make the divide between the top tier and the worst teams
Yeah.
in college hockey so much worse. Like, think about this. We started with Penn State, so we'll just stick with Penn State. Think about how much better this season, this Penn State roster is than last season and how good they were last year. They had a very good season last year. Think about a team like, local team for me is Mercyhurst College. They already had a low budget. They're not dishing out NIL money
Right.
like this. What happens if this loaded Penn State squad were to schedule an exhibition against, one of the struggling teams in the country that just does not have the budget or funds to do this NIL stuff? I mean, these games could get out of hand. I think the gap is getting bigger.
Well, Mercyhurst did take Minnesota Duluth or Minnesota to OT in that preseason game.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they
I
took them
didn't.
to
I
OT
haven't.
the
I didn't
second
pay
game.
attention to the. I didn't pay attention to the preseason stuff.
The only reason why I saw that was because it came up on my Instagram feed. I'm like, holy shit, Mercyhurst is good. Then I think they got dogged on the second game. It was like 6-2 or 4-2 or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what, Mercyhurst's rink pretty nice with the new upgrades. I like what they did with the place. Yeah, I'm interested to see how college hockey forms because with like you said this cap of NIL money, maybe they start bringing in GMs. Max Pacioretty is going to be an assistant, I think GM or assistant something for the Michigan Wolverines. So maybe I would hate to say it, but I think the NCAA is almost becoming the farm system more than the ECHL is. Where like you can train your GM, you can train your coaches, you can train your players. Where the ECHL is, hey, go down there and fight 9 people, Casey Middlestud. Like, hey, get your leg broken 95 times in Wheeling, West Virginia. Like,
Yep.
I don't know if people want to do that, especially when if Gavin McKenna like, hey, I can make 4 or 5 million in college hockey rather than my entry level contract of 3 million for 3 years. You know what I mean? So where's the where's the line where we say, is it more financially smart to stay in college, get the degree, free degree? It's probably like what, freaking business management or something, and then you get basically any woman you want. You get all the jersey money, right, with your last name, image, likeness. It'd be hard to say no.
Yeah. I think what you just brought up is a very interesting point, and I 100% agree with you. I just see this becoming the path where, before these really good players that come through major junior and couldn't play college, and now they have the ability to do that. And, whether they get drafted or they go to college for their draft year, like McKenna's doing, I feel like that's going to become the new feeder system where
Yep.
you're going to see a lot of players in college that have already been drafted into the NHL, and the NHL teams are going to say, "Hey, we like you, we want you to be part of this organization, but we think the best thing for your development right now is to go play 2 or 3 years, or even even graduate from college. Go play college, and then we'll sign you when we're ready to pull you out, and we're going to use that as a feeder program."
Yep.
And as a development program, instead of signing you early and then bumping you to the AHL or even the East Coast League. So I think that's a really good point, and I wonder how that dynamic changes the actual farm systems within the current NHL organizations, especially the ECHL teams.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. And I have a fun question in the speed rundown for exactly that topic as we finish that off. But moving on to the NHL, we're gonna start with the biggest news. I think the most people wanted to see finalized happened yesterday, 2 days ago. So it's kind of perfect timing. Krill the Thrill Kiprasov, 17 million for 8 years. This is probably the biggest contract, right? Has to be the biggest contract, minus Ilya Kovalchuk back in 2002 wanting $100 million. But dude, is this a W or is this an L for the Minnesota Wild?
This is so. I've seen a lot of social media reaction on this, and I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the interview with Bill Guerin.
No, I did. I just saw that today though, but I haven't watched it.
They did it. They did a quick presser with Kaprizov and Bill Guerin right after, and he somebody in the audience, they're just going up to the podium, right? And
Right.
somebody in the audience was asking Kaprizov how you feeling? You feeling pretty good? And Bill Guerin jumped in and he was like, "You fucking better be." Just gave him the bag.
All right.
I thought that was hilarious, the reaction from Guerin. But otherwise, on social media, there's been a mixed reaction to this. It is the highest salary for any player in NHL history, obviously.
Right.
And, I think in a vacuum, you look at this and you say, does Kaprizov deserve to be the highest paid player in the NHL? And I think if you just ask that question, the answer is no, because I can think of, at least a dozen players that I would rather have than him.
Yeah.
He's super talented, but big issue is I don't think he's ever played a full season. He always seems to get hurt. So there's one issue there. But I think if you look at it from the perspective of Minnesota, it's like, did they overpay? Yeah, probably. Is it worth it for them? Probably. Because he is their difference maker. He is their player. Connor McDavid. Yeah, exactly. He's their franchise player, and they did whatever they had to do to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, he was threatening to just go back to Russia and make a gajillion more dollars. So, I mean, you definitely have to look at that and say, was Panarin's contract back in, I don't know, 2015, 2016, whatever it was, when he signed that $11 million contract, and that was unheard of. But that dude was freaking nasty. Mm-hmm. Now we're seeing, not that much return on 11 million from Panarin up in New York. So I think with this contract, it sets the stage for people like Connor McDavid. Now, I'm going to ask this, Jenks. When you sign contracts like this, we've never, ever, in the history of ever, in the NHL, seen a team win the Stanley Cup post one of these mega superstars signing a mega deal.
Yeah.
Is this a concern moving forward for somebody like the Edmonton Oilers, where you want to sign Connor McDavid, where that man is clearly the number one? What do you do there?
I think if you're Edmonton, you're looking at this and you're
This
almost
is
saying
worst
like,
case scenario.
you're like, oh boy, this
Yeah.
this isn't good for us. I think about how frustrated McDavid has gotten the last couple of years getting bounced in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
He's been very critical of the team's performance, and I feel like they're just missing weapons outside of McDavid and Draisaitl. So I think there's really two ways to look at it. Does McDavid say, you know what, forget this, I'm going to go to free agency and I'm just going to sign for $20 million, like max cash? Or does he say at this point, I've been in the league for, gosh, he's been in the league for 10 years now. That's crazy.
I know.
I've been in the league for 10 years. I haven't won anything yet. The individual awards, I'm tired of them. I want a cup. Does he look at that and say, you know what, Edmonton, I think I can win here. I want us to be able to build a team here. I'm going to sign for, 15 million or something. And he actually takes a cut to say, take the extra money, go sign me some help, and let's win a cup. I think based on what we've seen from him and how much he cares about winning, I do think he's going to take a pay cut and stay in Edmonton. But man, if you're management, you're like, this makes the negotiation really hard because he can ask for whatever he wants and we can't say no.
Yeah, I mean, his agent did the best thing possible. He's like, hey, let's just wait till Krill signs. Let's just, we don't have to do anything. Our contract's good till next year, right? Like we can literally, he's probably a RFA too, so they could probably wait until the beginning of the season to do anything. So I just think it'll be interesting to see if he takes a pay cut. Mm-hmm. I would want that conversation to start with, Connor, what do you want? Do you want to win or do you want paid? Because we can do both, or we could do one or the other, but we can't do both, right?
Can't do both, yep.
Because we already paid Draisaitl what? He's got his 14 million or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And we already somehow messed up the Darnell Nurse thing. We paid Bouchard, and we still need to get a goalie somehow. And we have all these one-and-done MVP players, but you had Hyman scored 80 points one year. What do you want? What do you want us to do? So I think it's going to be hard for McDavid, but I'm super happy for Krill. I just looked at that Minnesota Wild team. I think if they can figure out a way to put a team around Krill, like they got that Zev guy from Minnesota, I think, or maybe it was Boston College, but
Boston, yep.
He was nasty in the short playoff run that they had. So maybe breaking in a new Cale Makar-esque type player on defense. They have Boldy. They got Gustafsson back. If they can get people, all you need is 5-6 players. 5-6 players. That's all you need to take you to the Stanley Cup, and then you rely on that third line. Boom. There you go. But yeah, this resets the whole market. And another player that reset the whole market this past season with all the headlines and all the talk, and can he do it? Mitch Marner ends up in Las Vegas with the Golden Knights. Finally getting out of hometown boy Toronto.
Yeah.
Do you like him in America or do you like him in Canada, Jenks?
Well, I'm surprised. I guess I shouldn't say I'm surprised. I don't know. The best way to put it is I don't know how Vegas keeps getting away with this. They just like, oh, there's a big name free agent about to come up on the market. We're going to make it happen. They just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. It seems like they should have hit the cap like 3 good players ago,
Yeah.
and they just keep adding to all their weapons. So Vegas is going to be the team to watch this year out of the West. Um, I think it's a good change for Marner. I think him being, I do think him playing in his hometown and being portrayed as the hometown boy and all of the Toronto media. I mean, we know how brutal the Toronto media can be on those players, and it's hard to block out that noise sometimes. And he was certainly in the news about being the guy on the outside when they break up that core four
Yep.
and keeping the rest of them, and that definitely impacts your play. And he had a couple of really tough playoff runs where people are saying, this isn't the guy that gets us the cup. So I think it's a good change for him. Um, I really had no idea where he was going to end up.
I feel like the Knights
Um,
always get freaking this sort of luck though. They just
dude,
always have this.
they think of the players that they've added,
I know.
like just over the last. I mean, they haven't been around that long, but they got Petrangelo was the best player in St. Louis when they added him. They got Eichel from Buffalo. Now they've gotten Marner. I mean, think of all the players that they've basically stolen
Robin
from other
Leonard.
teams. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They got their goalie Hill for
Yeah.
basically for free from I think it was the Sharks they got him from. But
Yeah.
they just keep getting away with it, and it's ridiculous. And all kudos to that management team for making it happen. These guys are just a contender every year automatically, and they don't they don't seem to care about their prospects or who's in the system because they just keep signing these veterans and getting it done.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch because I know the NHL did implement the that new rule that you can't carry a negative cap into the playoffs last year. But they implemented it for this season last year before the playoffs. And I think Florida and Tampa were way over, of course. So we'll see how that shakes out because Mark Stone's probably on IR already. He's probably retired twice before the end of the season. He'll come back somehow. But yeah, I think to your point, Mitch Marner getting out of Toronto, great for him. I couldn't even imagine being like number 5 guy, being that good, being that skilled, and then still getting shit on like you would see him in playoffs freaking out on the bench. Like I don't even know if Austin Matthews cares that much about hockey. I truly don't. Like he doesn't show any emotion, which is great. Great leader mentality, like do work on the ice, like show your presence there. But is he actually doing it off the ice? Where like we saw that little snippet of Crosby, from the new Amazon Prime documentary. The guy literally hangs the winning captain in his workout room. Talk about motivation, just being pissed off all the time. I just think like that's the sort of level that you need as a captain, as a leader. You need some sort of like, I hate losing more than I like winning. And I just don't know if Austin Matthews brings that. So Mitch Marner switching out of that environment, coming to the United States where, honestly, Las Vegas, I feel like there's just no media in hockey. There's just like how many strippers are on the Las Vegas, strip district or whatever they call it. I just think he may be like, this is so weird. He might have an awful season this season because it's such a big change from what he's used to coming over here. No income tax in Nevada as well. So all that money is going to be rolling into his bank account. He's going to be like, what do? I don't have to pay $9,000 for an apartment. So I'm excited for him. I'm not excited for the freaking Golden Knights because they seem to do it every year, and I don't know how I feel about that. But so another quick trade that I think I didn't add on to our rundown here, but I wanted to sneak in here. Trevor Zegras. He was kind of one of those names that was on the Mitch Marner esque type, and he has progressed from getting drafted in Anaheim through his I think his like what fifth year in the NHL now. Goes to Philly, Jenks.
Yep.
Is this what Philly needs? Does Philly need another star with Michkov? Is this the duo that they're gonna try to take to the promised land?
Man, I don't know. Did you happen to see there was they did an interview with Zegras about his time in Anaheim and basically how it all came to the end and his experiences in Anaheim. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
So I read the summary of it, and there were a couple points in there that I think a lot of people were pretty critical of Zegras and saying, is he a bust? He never was what they were expecting him to be in Anaheim.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear that he was like very much in his own head and was really questioning, his level of desire to be playing hockey because of, the trade rumors. And he had a couple bad injuries and he's in and out of the lineup. And it sounds like the management and the coaching staff were pretty tough on him when he wasn't living up to expectations. So, that'll take a toll on anybody. I think this is just good for him to get a fresh start. And I see this being, Philly taking a chance on a guy who had pretty high pedigree at one point, and he's familiar with a couple guys in the organization already. They obviously added Drysdale. I think it was 2 years ago now, and Drysdale and Zegras are pretty publicly like best friends.
Yeah.
So I think that eases the transition for Zegras a little bit, but I think they're saying like he's sort of that age that we're building this core. He's somebody that we believe in. He's somebody that we know is skilled, and we're going to take a chance on him. And if it works out, that's fantastic because we didn't have to pay that much for him. But we think this is a good gamble for the organization, and that's what they did. And it seems like he ended that interview with his time in Philly so far, and it seems like from the way he's talking, he has like a newfound life almost being in Philly. So I think it's good for player and good for team.
Yeah, Andy has a natural almost rivalry building with Crosby already. A couple of the games that he's played in Anaheim, we just kind of give Crosby the job. So maybe we could see that amped up because that rivalry really has died off in the last couple of years, just because Crosby's gotten older and he really doesn't care that much about it anymore. Whereas some of these players, if they want to make a name for themselves, kind of like Travis Konechny, like that man is a menace on the ice. Like if you watched any of that Winter Classic game audio, guy chirps Jake Gensel every time he's on the ice, every time. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I hope for the best for him. Hopefully he doesn't get sucked into too many more Hulu TV deals with his girlfriend, but I mean, I guess we'll see. It's an interesting dynamic they got going on over there. But moving on to our last topic of this section. Players to watch this season, Jenks. Who do you have?
Man, that is such a good question. There's a bunch of guys that I think are going to be critical, and sort of, I'll say they're in like a pivotal season.
Yep.
Two guys that we've already talked about them a lot, but I do think it's true. I think this is a big season for Matthews and Marner because now this is their first year. Marner's clearly in a new spot to prove that he can do it without Matthews.
Yep.
Matthews, they've broken up the core four. It's now his time to prove that he can do it without Marner. So, won't go too much beyond that because we've already talked about them in detail. I think some of the other guys to keep an eye on this year, I'll go through just a couple of them real quick, and then if you've got some similar ones, maybe you can share your thoughts too. But Bedard, I think, he had a tough season last year. I know the team around him isn't real strong, but I think he's got to take some growth as a player and as a leader and find a way to make it happen. So I think this is a big year for Bedard. I think this is a big year for a couple of those guys in Montreal to take the next step. And I think, Montreal is looking to be um, taking that next step as a team as well. But, the two guys that I've got my eye on,
Montreal's going to be
um,
nasty.
yeah, exactly. I think they're going to be good this year. I've got them pretty high on my list. But the two guys that I've got my eye on from Montreal specifically are Slavkovsky, who,
Yeah.
we all know
He's been hit or
there
miss.
he's had some really good moments, but he's been really inconsistent, and we all know that that was a really controversial pick when it happened. So,
Yeah.
can he take another step and be that reliable guy? And I think there's a couple other young guys in there that probably need to take a step as well. Caulfield has been pretty good. I think, can he get to that 50 goal scorer potential? We all know that he's a shooter. Patrick Laine at one point was a 50 goal scorer and has sort of
It's
dropped off a cliff.
crazy to
And
say.
right, so can he be a reliable, second line guy for them? And then, Lane Hudson had a fantastic debut season in the NHL. Is his second year going to be as good, or is there going to be a little bit of a coming back down to earth now that people know what to expect? So,
Then
those are the guys that I've
Ivan
got there.
Demidov. Yeah, that guy.
He's got a lot of expectations this year after his brief stint
I'll
last
tell you
year.
what. I'd sign him to a multi-year deal with Miller Daddy if I still had a team. That's for sure.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I would definitely agree with that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, beyond that, I think you could probably go through every team in the NHL and say there's somebody who needs to prove himself right now. Um, we just saw a couple big contracts get signed, and I think those are guys who need to prove themselves. I mean, you sent it to me this morning. It's very recent. Luke Hughes got a huge
We
contract.
didn't even, yeah. Oh,
I don't. We don't have to go too much into that, but I mean, man, talk about signing the guy with at his ceiling
nothing. Yeah,
expectation.
nothing. Yeah.
I mean, he's had some good moments as well, but holy crap, that's a big deal. McTavish just held out and got his big contract as well. The Ducks are hoping that he can be their number one center. So I think there's a lot of guys that you could just go through the teams and say it's a prove it season for this player. But those are a few ones that I've got my eye on this year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to touch on some of the ones that you mentioned. I mean, Bedard, I'm a big like year 3, year 4 guy with some of these people like Jack Hughes. Like, all right, season 1, I get it. Season 2, all right, but season 3, 4, 5, we need to see it. Like, we need to see, are you the guy, or are we gonna go back to number 1 and pick our guy? So I think we need to make sure Bedard has the tools around him. We can't have 40-year-old Fleury in the net. We can't have a rookie in net. I think they have Alex Leon. I forget who their goalies are, but we can't have like these like extremes. We need to have a solid maybe Mackenzie Blackwood. We need to have maybe like an Aiden Hill type of goalie where he's on the cusp of being good but not yet great. Or maybe
Yeah.
just have a tandem duo. I would like to see Bedard take a step. I want to see. I think this is a make or break year for DeBrincat up in Detroit. This is his 9th season, Jenks, in the NHL.
It's crazy.
It it felt like yesterday he was scouting me in EIA at the Gannon rec games, you know? So I mean, like, I think if he doesn't see it in Detroit, I would say, hey, I need to win. I'm too good right now to not be winning all the time. Larkin will never leave Detroit. It'll be hard to see him leave, but I just think as a number 3 or 4 player on that team for DeBrincat, we need to move on if this season doesn't work. Celebrini, again, another guy picked really high, had a great season last year with Will Smith. I want to see him take another step, like maybe get into that 80, 90 point range. I think in today's NHL, staying at 60 points when you're such in high regard is bad. Like I I could never score in the NHL. I get it. But when you're drafted number 1 and everybody like believes in you and you have a system around you, you need to like get up there in points. I don't,
Yep.
I'm not saying score 90 goals. I'm saying points. Those are the two guys. I mean, Zegras, he has to show me something. Like the last 2 years in Anaheim, absolute dog shit. So I just need to see, is he just a pretty face or is he a hockey player? You can't be
Yep.
both. We've seen it in Austin Matthews. I don't even want to see it from Austin Matthews anymore because he has too many years of doing it over and over and over again, and I'm driving myself insane expecting a different result. So those are the types of guys I want to see it from. Would I like to see Malkin score a bunch of goals this year? Sure, but that's not going to happen. He's like he's got the gear in like gear 2. He's so slow. So we'll see. But outside of that, we're moving on to the rundown section. Spend like a minute, 2 minutes talking about each topic, back, forth, keep it moving, keep it grooving.
Perfect.
All right, you ready, Jenks?
Hit me with it.
Predictions: East, West, Stanley Cup. Go.
Oh man. Okay. Without spending too much time on this, if you would have asked me this a week ago, before Barkov would have gotten injured, they would have definitely been. The Panthers would have definitely been my East team. But without Barkov, man, that's gonna be awful tough on them. Um, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I this feels gross to say, but I don't think Carolina got any weaker. And I think that they've proven to be a deep team. I think they're still missing that X factor, but I'm going to take a shot on Carolina this year
Okay.
um, in the East. And then my West Coast team, I'm gonna go Vegas. They're just always in that mix. I debated a little bit between Vegas and Dallas. I think adding Marner adds a new dimension to that offense, and man, they're just hard to bet against. So I'll go Vegas and Carolina in the finals.
Interesting. Okay. So for me in the West is gonna go Dallas because they're always there every year. But I will say, Corey Perry got traded to the Kings. So if you want to smash some sort of future on the Kings, now's your time. The man has been to 5 straight Stanley Cups. So I'm just saying it right now. If the Kings make the West, I would not be shocked. But I'm picking Dallas. For the East Conference, it like hurts me that everybody is like in the same level of goodness. Like, and that might not be a word, but I'm gonna say anyways. I just think there's no like clear cut after Barkov got injured, of course.
Yeah.
Now, if somehow they figure out a way to bring him back before playoffs, it'll be a miracle. But I wouldn't be shocked. The Islanders drafting Schaefer kid. He looked decent in preseason. I'm gonna take everything I said back about how terrible he was because he needs to hit the weights. But I'm going Carolina as well. I think Carolina's just been too consistent over the last couple of years. Now's their time to get in. But I think the West is going to take the Stanley Cup this year. Whoever comes out of the West is going to win. I just think the East is not that strong this year.
I agree. I think the West is the better conference this year.
Moving on, Fleury. Thoughts on Fleury retiring as a Penguin?
I love it. If I didn't have other plans last weekend, I would have been at that game. Just, as a player, he was so good for so long, and then he sort of dropped off, and then, I think the fan base turned a little bit, but there's no doubt that he is like, one of the cornerstones in franchise history for Pittsburgh. So for them to bring him back and let him get a period and go out the way he did and make such a special moment of it, I think he deserves it. And I think the fans appreciated it. I think it's an awesome send off.
I would love to see more retirings like this.
Yeah.
Just getting in there for one preseason game, like maybe a forward, you get in there for a shift, last shift of the game. Do something like that. I think that would be very special for some of these guys. And again, for the whole organization to sell a bunch of tickets early, I mean, GG. I mean, there it is. That's gravy. Preseasons are usually empty barns anyways. That stadium was packed for Fleury's return, but that'd be cool to see. Jenks, we made it with some of these Russian players, man. Some of these Russian players are out on the way. We're gonna hit 2. Ovi, the last ride.
Big question this year. Is this it for him? He's gotten the goals record. He's got his cup. He looks he looks a little bit slower every year,
and
he's already he's already sort of stated that he plans to play in Russia when he finishes his time in the NHL. So I think this is probably his last year. I would be surprised if we didn't hear some announcement about that at some point, and he'll get the send off he deserves because he is, obviously he's one of the all-time best. So
yeah, it's cool to see his full circle moment. I think everybody kind of likes him now after winning that Stanley Cup. Even though I hate to see the Caps win, I like to see Ovi win. But yeah, it'll be cool to see if he hangs it up this year. Maybe he goes for 1,000. I don't know. The other Russian that's hanging it up, Malkin, his final dance as well. The guy's been a staple in Pittsburgh forever. Still doesn't really know English. That's okay. He doesn't need to know English. He just needs to know how to put the puck in the back of the net. That's it. But yeah, thoughts.
It's all we ask is that you put the puck in the net. Yeah, he gets a lot of heat the last couple of years because, for every 5 amazing plays he made over the course of his career, there was always the one where he dropped the puck to the other team and they'd go in on a breakaway and score. It's
right.
Like, oh my God. Yeah. But just similar to Fleury, there is no denying what he has meant to this franchise and brought 3 cups to Pittsburgh during his time, and how dominant he was in Crosby's absences. He'll go down as one of the best players in Pittsburgh history for sure.
Yeah, and just speaking on Crosby, the absolute lunacy that people are saying out there on the etherwebs that Crosby wants to get traded or anything. First of all, it's Crosby's decision, and the man has said 95 times that he's not that guy. He will never be that guy that hops the hops franchise. He wants to retire on one team. That's it. The lunacy out there, it's disgraceful to not trade him to Colorado. Buddy, if anybody's trading anybody, Crosby will be like, I want to go to this team for a penny. But he'll never do it because he's not that guy.
Yeah, 100%. He has said this keeps swirling around there because everybody knows the direction the Penguins are heading right now. And, Crosby's a competitive guy. Everybody knows that. And people are just like, oh, if he wants to win, he can't stay in Pittsburgh, and he's really wasting the last 2 years of his career here. But Crosby has already come out and said he intends to retire a Penguin. So I think it's really hard to picture him going anywhere at this point.
It'll make him look like a terrible guy too if he ends up being like, actually, I want to go play with my friend Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
He's the villain. Yeah. He's the villain now. You live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Kempe, out in, what is that, L.A., retires. Yeah. I didn't realize he was that old, Jenks.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So I think that caught people, or Kempe, or you talked about Kopitar?
Kopitar. I don't know why I said Kempe.
Yeah, I heard you say Kempe, and I questioned,
was thinking Rempe, but I knew it started with a K.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I
Yeah.
saw his face. Yeah. Anze.
Yeah. Yeah, Kopitar. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing as you. Like, holy crap, he can't be that old already. But I mean, he's been in the league for almost 20 years
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
It's crazy because he's been such a staple of that program for so long, and this is sort of the beginning of the end for that crew in LA as well. I mean, they moved on from Johnny Quick, and they've still got Kopitar and Doughty from those 2011, 2012 cups, when they were on a
Insanity that
run
they're
there.
still playing.
So yeah, I think he's doing the right thing. Time to hang him up, and he'll still be a good player this season. And him announcing it, he'll get his proper send off as well. He's had a great career. So yeah, congrats to him.
Yeah, congrats, man. It's heck. Even though I fucked up your name there, I knew who you were. It's just I was thinking Rempe from New York, and there's also a Kempe in LA. I think there's like a K. Other
Yeah,
name.
there is a you're correct. There's a Kempe and a Kopitar
Right, so
in LA.
just keep last name simple. Smith, Adams, Williamson, like stuff like that.
Easy.
We touched on it a little bit, but I just want a yes or no. Can Zegras save his career this year?
Yes, he can.
Okay. I'm saying yes, he can as well. He needs to fucking put 95 in the net. If not, he's on my short list to cut from the NHL.
Yep.
Super teams in college hockey, yes or no?
Do they exist now? Is that what the question is?
Do you like them?
Do I like them? Boy, I'll have a better answer for you after the season gets started and we really see how this starts to play out. I'm skeptical of it. I'll just say for the moment, I'm okay with it because it brings more talent to college hockey. If we start seeing some of these games be like 12-0 games, I'm going to change my mind a little bit.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm saying yes as well for the sole fact that I think it'll be interesting to see how this season plays out. But what I don't want to happen is the same team win every year because they have the most amount of money to spend. Like if you're a Long Island Sharks or whoever they are, you're never winning ever. So it's hard for somebody to go to that program and be like, we got a shot this year. Like, well, no, you don't. Right. So we'll see how things are getting built over there over the course of time. The CHL, is it done as a major league that people go to now?
It is not done. If anything, the CHL will get more of those talented 16 to 18-year-olds. But I think we're going to stop seeing a lot of those really good players after they hit 18. I think they'll start to favor college a little bit more. So is it done? No. Is the dynamic changing? Yes.
Yep, I would agree with that. It's not done. I think you're going to get more talented and skilled players going to there before you see them in the NCAA after they develop a little bit more. Yeah. Make or break season for Connor Hellebuyck and the Jets.
I think so. I mean, it's crazy because this Jets team, the roster just doesn't have a ton of turnover. Connor Hellebuyck has been the best goalie in the NHL probably over the last 3 or 5 years or so now. I think now it's like, are they going to be a playoff team? Yes, they should be. Hellebuck's going to need to prove that he can get it done in the playoffs because he's looked pretty rough in the postseason. So I think this is a big season. If they don't have success, there could be changes in Winnipeg.
I agree. I mean, next season is Connor Hellebuck's no trade clause. I think if Connor Hellebuyck doesn't save less than 5 goals a game in the playoffs, I think we seriously gotta consider what the hell he's doing and figure it out. So yes, it is a make or break year for the Jets and Connor. Last one, we touched on it a bit. I want your 2 teams, if Crosby in a parallel universe on the dark side of the moon got moved, what would they be?
Okay. I think that's easier than, with all the rumors flying.
Right.
Obviously, you hear a lot about it, so I think that's easier to answer than one might think. If he's going to the West Coast, it's going to be the Avs. He's going to go pair up with his buddy McKinnon and try to win it. If he stays out east, I've heard a lot of this Montreal talk, and I think does.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
insanity.
think there's some logic to it.
For team.
Relative logic, right? I think it's insanity that the idea of him moving no matter what, but if we're saying this is a parallel universe and he has to get moved, I think Montreal does make some sense.
Yep, I was just gonna say those teams. It was the rumor mill of the summer, but yeah, it's exciting. We have the Olympics coming up. We have World of Hockey scheduled for the next couple seasons. We got the All-Star game with the Four Nations kind of switched up. A lot of hockey, a lot of fun events coming on this summer. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube at Black Aces Hockey Podcast. Jenks, any last thoughts?
Really excited for hockey to be back. It's been a long off season, but I think this is going to be a really entertaining year for the NHL and for college hockey. I know I've planned to watch as many of the Penn State games as I possibly can.
Right.
Because it's going to be a pretty special season for them as a program. So lot of good storylines to follow this year. So tune in to hockey wherever you can and whenever you can.
Yeah, and if you can't, Amazon Prime, October 3rd, I think the first episode comes out for the NHL Inside the Glass or whatever they're calling it. It's those little documentaries are pretty cool to watch, especially when Crosby enters it, and you don't get to really see a peek into his life that too often like that. So, yeah, guys, that's going to be it for us today. It's going to be a fun season. Hopefully you enjoy everything that life throws at you this year. I'm your co-host, Blaine Adams. I'm right here, as always, with your co-host, Nick Jenkins. We're out of here.